Hi guys, it's your girl B Michelle coming at you with a revamp video. So I'm going to be using these chairs here. I have a set of 3 of these chairs, but I'm only going to be redoing 2 of the chairs. The other one I'm going to be doing for a friend. So yeah, these are some chairs that I got from a previous job, and they were just some chairs that we had in the waiting area that they were getting rid of. So I took a couple and a friend took one and wanted me to redo hers. And believe it or not, I've had these chairs for at least 2 years, and yeah, I don't like doing this because taking these staples out really works my nerves. So here goes. So I'm removing the staples from the chair, which took forever. And this is how many staples that I pulled out so far from this one chair. And then only to find out there's another layer underneath. So of course, I did not remove that layer. I left it there. I was done with it. I was over it. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just removed that fabric, and I removed this, whatever this cushion material is. I removed that. And actually, I'm going to use that cushion soft material, whatever that is. So I painted the chair. I washed the chairs down, and I painted it with some chalk paint. But I was kind of running out of my chalk paint. It kind of sucks with us, you know, these stay-at-home orders. Can't really go to different retail stores and stuff. So you can't really get all the things that you need. So I used the chalk paint as much as I could for both chairs. And I went over it with some acrylic paint in white as well. So this is how the chairs look with paint. So I used the same material that came off as my guide to cut out my fabric. And I was planning on using this polyurethane, whatever it's called, y'all know what it's called. I was planning on using that as the cushion for the chairs, but since it had another layer, I wasn't taking all of it off. I just used the old stuff that was already on there. And I didn't have enough to do all 3 chairs anyway, which I probably could have done the 2 because I'm not working on that 3rd chair just yet. So I cut out my material, but I did use some batting to cover the older material that was on the chair. And I just placed the batting on there, and I'm cutting out the little slits where the arms are on the chair to make the batting fit. And I did the same thing with the material as well. So I got it to fit around the different arms, the 2 arms, and around the legs, and I'm going to use some staples to staple this in place. Now this process and actually covering the chairs with the fabric, that part wasn't really that difficult. The most difficult part for me is actually removing those staples. Like I said before, it's very tedious to me. I have the little tool that removes the staples, but it just, I guess because these chairs are old, I don't know what it was. Those staples were really in there really good, and it just worked my nerves. So I just couldn't do it anymore. So I'm fitting the fabric on here to make sure all of the pieces are going to be covered. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have the fabric on here to make sure everything is going to be covered. So I'm just smoothing it out, and you want to pull it and smooth it as much as possible to make sure you get as tight of a fit as you possibly can. So that's all I'm doing is pulling, and I'm stapling. And like I said, this is the easy part. You can put as many staples as you want or as less staples as you want. So that's going to be up to you. But if you want it to be secure, you want to put more staples. And so for the corner, I had to trim it, cut a slit so I can get around the corners to make it fit. And then I just kind of fold it, and I cut off the excess and I fold it. And I used a staple on the staples on the first chair, but on the second chair, I just used the hot glue around those corners, around the legs and around the arm part. Some of those parts that was kind of hard to kind of work through, I used the hot glue on some of those, and it looks so much better with just using the hot glue. And then you want to pull through the back, and you have to cut a slit for where the chair is connected, the bottom and the back part. You want to cut a slit so that you can pull fabric through the bottom part on the seat so that you can pull that fabric down to staple as well. So the same thing again, I'm cutting where I need to fit it around, and then just pull the fabric to make it fit, and either use some glue or staple it, however you want to do it. If you're not going to use anything to cover this, then I would recommend using the glue. I had already covered one chair 2 years ago using the same color material and using the same white paint. So it has kind of a similar look. It's just a different design on the chair. And I'll show you guys that chair in the end. But it is a video from 2 years ago. But of course, it's not me talking like this because I lost a lot of footage for that video. So it's basically pictures. So I'm just filling in with staples, stapling all the fabric down to make sure it's secure. And for the top part, I kind of wanted to keep the staples in the shape of the top, because the top kind of goes like in a curve. So I cut out some fabric for the back. I decided to use a different fabric, and I'm using this little nail tooth-like material piece that came out of the previous fabric. And I want to reuse that. It had a piece going across the top too that was made different, but I could not salvage that top piece. So I'm trying to make these staples go in the curvature of the top. So I took the fabric, this is like some faux leather. I took that fabric and I laid it on the opposite side, and I'm stapling down so that I can fold it back like you see here. But I'm trying to follow that curve pattern to kind of mimic the look of actually having the little metal piece on there, since I don't have one. And then for the corners, I just had to keep working with it to make it come together. And I cut slits where I needed to kind of make it all just blend together. And I almost forgot to replace the foamy material, the cushion material on the back. And I forgot to put some batting on here, but I almost forgot to step on both chairs. So I had to go back in and staple that down to have some kind of cushion in the back. And I'm using that tooth-like metal piece. It looks like nail heads sticking out of the metal piece. This was on the chair originally, and I'm just reusing that. And I'm just, I fold it in, and then I'm using a hammer to nail those, the nail heads in place. Now, I did have a hard time trying to pull this fabric, and I guess I should have cut it just a little bit smaller, because there's a little bit more slack in the back of the chair than I want it to be. Because I should have cut the material down smaller, or either pull the material more as I was applying the strip with the nail heads, or I don't know, it's just a little bit too much slack in it in the back. Or I could have filled it with some of that cushion, the foam material. So once I had all the back stapled down and nailed in, I used the same material on the bottom to cover the staples and everything. So I did reuse a lot from the previous chair, the previous material. So once I had everything stapled and nailed with the fabric, I used some bling wrap to kind of decorate the legs on the chair. So I went down the center of the chair with some bling wrap, and then on the side it had the same kind of design going down on the side, so I did that on the side and the front, just on the front legs. And I took some bling wrap and went down the middle of the chair, and I just used the staples and I stapled to the back, and then I tucked the bling wrap on the inside of the chair. This is something I can remove at any time. It's not permanent. I just need to remove those staples if I wanted to. I also add some bling wrap down the arm, and I'm using this trim here as well to go around the front of the chair, the front and the sides of the chair. I was questioning whether I was going to use it or not, but I decided to use it. Now, originally, I was going to use like the trim, like the nail head trim. I don't know what you call it, but it's like a strip, and it looks like the nail heads that you can put on furniture. I had some of that I wanted to go around the bottom of the chair, but I chose to use that other trim on that, and I thought I was going to use it on this back side, but it wasn't enough to do both chairs. So this is the material I'm talking about here. This is something you can get from Walmart, Hobby Lobby. I've seen it in both places, but I didn't have enough to do the backs of both chairs, so I used some Mardi Gras beads. So this is the final look, and I just used some glue to glue those down. So the chair in the middle is the chair that I did 2 years ago. You see, it's the same material. It kind of sort of has the same look. I did create a pillow to go with that one, and I thought I was going to do some pillows with this one maybe later. But this is the back of the chair, and like I said, I wanted those flat nail heads, but all I had was these beads, so, you know, it doesn't matter. It's my house. I can do whatever I want to do. So this is the final look. I love how they turned out. Other than the slack in the back, I wish there was a little bit tighter, but who's going to be seeing the back with it sitting here anyway? So yeah, this is sitting in the entryway. They're a little bit too big to be sitting in the entryway with them sitting at an angle. I may move them somewhere else, but for now, this is where they are. So I mean, they can work. There's plenty of walk through space, but I just don't like the way they sit out with it being at an angle like that. And I like the angled look. So that's where I have them. And so, yeah, I'm done with these chairs. One more to go. So anyway, you guys, thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And share. And until next time, you guys, love you guys. Be safe. Bye.